Welcome to the Women in Leadership Body, Mind, Soul, and Business podcast. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Heather. Together, we are working to connect women in leadership and business, build relationships, empowering each other, improving the health and wellness of our community, body, mind, and soul, sharing the heart and soul of who we are and what we do.
Today's guest loves to join ranks with women in business and entrepreneurs. She empowers, inspires, and promotes women in business every single day. She is a creator of Women's Success Network and is excited to also continue to grow her community. Welcome for the first time to our table, Carol Dockum.
Well, thank you so much, Heather and Charlie, for having me. I am so excited to be here today and to share this space and this place with you on your lovely, beautiful Leadership Women in Business Empowerment podcast show. I'm excited.
Woo! Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Carol, we have been watching you for a while, virtually on Facebook and things like that. But go ahead and introduce yourself to the world, and tell us a little bit about your passion project and what it is you do.
Sure. Well, thank you for the opportunity, number one. And I just want to say, give a shout out to the two of you for creating this space, this beautiful podcast program, really to highlight, other women in leadership roles around the world. You're doing amazing work. And I love what you said when you kicked off this session or segment. You said, I've been watching you, right? And let me just say, no matter where you are, I just want to give a message to other women in business, entrepreneurs, creators out there. You just never know who is listening, watching, and the impact that you are having online and in person. So keep going, keep moving forward, because as a solopreneur, it can be a very lonely space, a very lonely world. So keep sharing your voice, your message. I just think it's so important. And you just never know who's going to be listening, watching, and an impact that you can be having, right, to others. Yes. So I am Carol Dockum, the CEO and founder of Beautiful Faces Going Places Women's Success Network. I'm a former Chamber of Commerce executive director and ran a very successful Chamber of Commerce in Oxford, Ohio, home to Miami University for about 4 years, and absolutely loved everything about it, including, just creating the programming and the marketing and all the membership benefits that come with a membership to a Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. I also have taught marketing, advertising, and consumer behavior at the European School of Economics in Rome, Italy, years ago. So I have a passion as well for just, marketing and branding. And after experiencing life as a chamber executive, I like to call it chamber world. I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be so cool to create an online chamber of commerce to support women in business, not only locally, but nationally and globally. And that was about 6 or 7 years ago while I was running a Chamber of Commerce. And I thought, gosh, that would be so cool. And what an impact we could have, right? If I could figure out, number one, the technology. Now, how in the world do I do this? This vision is so much bigger than just me, but, I just plugged into teaching and learning and really researching what are the tools, what technology is out there, and then came along Zoom. And I thought, okay, this is it. I'm going to be BFFs with Zoom. And, and then the next step was just creating, the website, the messaging, the programs online, utilizing Zoom. And just getting started. And it can be so daunting and scary, when you have an idea like, wouldn't this be fabulous? Now, how do I do this? And the first step everyone does is they create a website, right? And then it's like, now what? What are the next steps? So my thought was, there are so many brilliant speakers, trainers, coaches, and experts out in the world. If I could tap into them, invite them to join beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com as a success team member, they can then share their brilliance, right? Whether they're a sales strategist, or a business planning strategist, or marketing, social media. You think about productivity coaches. I mean, the list of coaches goes on. Mindset, right? And mindset is so important to all of us as entrepreneurs, because I like to think of Henry Ford's quote: whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. So it is so important to embrace that positive, I can do, if you can dream it, you can do it attitude as a solopreneur and entrepreneur. So I launched my company. Yes, exactly. So I launched my company, about 3.5 years ago. And let me just say, the first time I held my first virtual networking event, I created the Eventbrite link, splashed it out into the world, email list, social media. And guess what? I was the only person to show up. And that was three years ago, or 3.5 years ago. And I remember taking a picture of myself because I wanted to capture that moment in time. And this is kind of what the picture looked like. It was like, yeah, exactly. And I thought, what? Exactly, thumbs up. I wanted to capture that moment in time and share that in the future to encourage other entrepreneurs, that to keep going, because
Stop.
exactly.
Because obviously I know that you just did a 24-hour event
yesterday.
Yes.
And I know that you weren't the only one in there.
Oh,
You
absolutely
had a
not.
really good time talking to other women all over the world.
It was incredible. Yes, thank you so much. And yes, it was a special 24-hour live stream event to celebrate International Women's Day, which is officially on March 8th of every year. And I'm so honored to have had the opportunity to co-host with the beautiful Angie Snowball Thompson of Living in America. She's amazing at what she does. She, has her podcast called Business Without Borders. And I met her a couple of years ago when she had attended one of my in-person networking events, a lunch and learn, just before COVID hit. So it was like February of, what year was that? 2019. Right before COVID hit. It was the last in-person networking event. And she and I connected, had a one-on-one. And it's amazing that when you really sit down and have a conversation with, someone that you meet, and just have that conversation, you discover all your commonalities that you have in common. And we discovered that we both were expats. We had lived in Europe for several years. And we just said, wow, wouldn't this be cool if we could create an international event, international celebration event for International Women's Day together. So she actually invited me to her event. I was a guest speaker. And then we said, well, next year we'll host an online event. So last year it was actually 5 days. So it was Monday through Friday. We hosted International Women's Day together. And so for this year, we said, why don't we do a 24-hour live stream? And then we can hit all time zones around the world.
Right.
Because last year it was all Eastern Standard Time. So we weren't able to hit, Europe and Asia and Australia and Africa and all these different time zones.
Really
so
yes. The name of the day, right?
Global community.
And
exactly. And we could not have done it without Päivi. Päivi is based out of Finland. She represents Arctic Nutrition. She is a BNI like master connector, all things techie as well. And with her with her representing our European host, we were able to actually keep that live stream going 24 hours so that Angie and I could have a little rest Eastern Standard Time and then jump back in with the programming. So it worked out just, I mean, just beautifully. And the speakers that we had were incredible. You know, we had just amazing women around the world sharing their passion, their expertise. And then we had all these really cool topics, like on the hour, different topics, you know, relative to today, women of today, and some great engaging conversations about money matters, mom guilt. I'm trying to think what some of the others, culture and community and I'm drawing a blank here, but communicating
Well, I don't know.
across
You're
cultures.
live for hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So what's super exciting is that you have it on the Facebooks. So we can drop a link to the group and you can still go
Yes.
back and watch parts of it. Because
Absolutely.
I mean that's binge
I want to go
worthy,
back and watch
right?
that, you
Please,
know.
The few minutes
please
that we
do.
were able to hop on yesterday, I was like, shoot, you're like live, like right when we're going, you know, I was like, dang
I
it.
know. And that's why we thought, oh my goodness, you know, instead of just creating the event, you know, and everyone has a Zoom link, I'm like, if we can live stream this can go on and on and on, you know, throughout the year. So it's not about just a one day, let's celebrate amazing, incredible women on one day. So this can actually live and breathe for the entire year. And we can actually build upon this and add to the program for next year. So that's the idea and the concept.
I love it.
So
I'm so
exciting.
excited. So, all of Carol's contact information will be in the description or the comments below, you guys, if you want to get in touch with her. She is absolutely an amazing fireball of a woman, and I just really encourage you to connect with her because she is just
Amazing.
And
we as we're growing, we are adding a blog post. So we have added the amazing Amanda Holler to our team, and she's doing the blog post. So a blog post will also have all of your contact information and links available. So you can get that right on our website if you can't find it. So that will be very exciting as well.
Super, 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 super cool.
I'm very excited.
So Carol, what does it look like? Take a couple minutes to tell us, what does it look like for someone to work with you?
You know, I think it looks like endless possibilities.
Ooh, I love that.
And that just came to my mind because I truly believe that each and every one of us, we have endless possibilities. I believe the world is abundant and there are so many opportunities. You just have to decide, what is it, right? What is it that you want? What do you want to make? What do you want to create? What do you want to put out into the world? You just have to decide, what is it? And then that, yes, I want it. And then put together a plan, strategy, and do it. That's what it's like to work with me.
All of that.
Yeah.
We love the word decide. Like people, like that seems to be the catalyst. Like you have to make the decide.
You're right. Absolutely. You have to decide, what is it that you want? And then you have to decide, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for it, you know, and imagine if we all lived in a world of being unstoppable. Like if you just embrace that word, I am unstoppable. I am fearless. You know, I am confident. I am. And then put that word behind it and just live in that state of being. You know, the next thing you know, you are creating and you are living and you are it. So it's the craziest thing, you know, when you understand the power of your mind and your thoughts and, you know, your feelings and how you have the choice to change it by flipping that switch and saying, you know what, that is not serving me. That negativity, those doubts, those fears are not serving me. goodbye, and flip the
Later.
switch.
Bring
Yeah.
the awareness. That I and this week our topic is lack of awareness.
Yes.
Avidya,
Avidya. I'm gonna get it by Friday. I'm gonna get it.
which I think the word avidya actually means like awareness in
Awareness.
Sanskrit. I'm gonna have to double check with Dr. Hema, but um, yeah, lack of awareness. So being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your thoughts, you know, all things. There's so many ways to improve how we look at the world by being
Right.
aware of it.
I think it
Yes.
just even like with the technology issues we've had today, like we used to get kind of stuck in that, right? Now we just like, okay, well, next thing that's not working, so this is what we do. Okay. I'm like, but I'm already on Zoom. Let's go. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
you just kind of like, okay, this is how we do it. We already have the path.
That's
Yes.
right. You
You
do.
listening or watching, we went live on Facebook this morning and we were just about to start recording and the internet just crashed and it's still not back up yet.
And
So
if
we
you
had to switch gears, you know?
Yeah, and if you know anything about Zoom, you know you cannot go live to Facebook on your phone. Like
Right.
that's not a thing. Thank you,
Right.
Zoom. You would really like that feature.
Right.
But yeah, it's
So you know we used to have that mindset that this was like bad or we had to you do it or show up in a certain way, but we realized that our mindset around the technology hinders us moving forward. And so we
Right.
started working on that. And I think we're doing really good with it. Like,
yeah.
boom, boom. Like,
Internet crashes, that's fine. We'll just call Carol on our phone and do Zoom that way.
Exactly.
You message me and you're like, I lost you guys. I'm like, our internet crashed. We'll be back soon.
And you know what? I just want to applaud the both of you, you know what I mean? Because that is inspiring. You just, there are things that are out of our control, right? So, work on what you can control, right? Okay, this is happening. So what are my options? Stay calm, carry on. You're on purpose. You set the intention and look, here we are, right?
We are, and you guys
Here we
get
are.
to be Carol too. Like, we don't just hoard her to ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. We just keep moving forward and we figure it out. So if you
Exactly.
are having technical issues with Zoom and you want some resources on how to work around that, reach out to us. Let us know because we learned a few tricks along the way.
Right.
I'm going to move into today's meditation. So let's take a few nice, slow, deep breaths. If you're driving, please pull over or keep your eyes open. One, safety first. Big, deep breaths. Today we are on day 35 of Meditations from the Mat by Rolf Gates and Katrina Kennison. The posture never ends. Rolf Gates. I teach a flowing style of yoga in which one posture flows into the next. The transitions between postures are postures in their own right. The breath and the meditation are unbroken. This is not true in all styles of yoga, nor is such a flow necessary in order for a form of yoga to be effective. The lesson remains, however, that it is our tendency to pay attention to the postures themselves, but not to the spaces in between. So it is in life. We leave one relationship or job and set up our sights on the next. We cross one item off the to-do list and dive into the next chore. The illusion is that the posture ends. The reality is that the posture never ends. It just shifts from one form to the next, one lesson to the next, one opportunity to the next. We remain life's student whether we are inhaling or exhaling, in a relationship or out of one, saving the world or looking for a temp job. The posture never ends. I am in the posture when I look into my wife's eyes, and I am in the posture when I look into my waiter's eyes. Both are holy interactions. The illusion is that there is separation, levels of importance, beginnings and endings. Yoga brings us to the understanding that the posture never ends. Let
That
that
was
sink in.
beautiful.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
What does that what stood out for you?
I feel what stood out to me was embracing that level of awareness of being, and that is infinite.
Mhm.
It's infinite and it never ends.
Mhm.
I think it also told me that what I heard was that, life is a journey and there will always be change. But what remains constant is that posture.
Mhm.
But we have to have that awareness
Mhm.
of being.
Of being. Yes.
I love it because we even if we just talk about just be, like, what does that mean? And I feel like that just defines that,
Mhm.
like just stepping into that space in between things and being aware of it. Like I really
Right.
enjoy that. Like that's really
Yeah.
cool.
To me, I was reminded of, well, my task list. Like it's been
Mm,
kind of on top of my mind right now. I'm trying to learn a new like project management software for all
okay.
of my tasks. But you know, it's like just because I get to check those little boxes saying they're done. This task is done. That task is done. Does it's the in between times that are just as important. It's the
Yes.
lull, right?
Hmm.
It's that ebb and flow of it all. It just
We needed this.
we really did. We
Today's
needed
meditation went
today.
for us.
Oh, it was amazing. I think it was meant for me as well, and meant for anyone else who stopped to listen to the words and embraced it. I think this is meant for everyone. And I would love for you to share that somewhere. I want access to that. And I love that you shared that you are working on a project management. Oh, let me see.
Meditations from the Mat by Rolf Gates and Katrina Kennison.
The links are
The links
below.
will be
Oh,
in.
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I was just saying, Heather, I'm grateful that you shared your new project management software or program that you're working with. I think as entrepreneurs and women in leadership, many of us are go-getters, right? And we have these long lists of tasks, of lists of things to do, right? And I think we all have a tendency to uh, put that pressure upon ourselves, to feel that pressure and anxiety and stress about getting the list of things to do. And guess what? That list of things to do,
Hold on right now.
yeah, it never ends, right? It's never
We
ending.
were talking about that yesterday. Like write that exact thing, like of that need to feel like constantly going and
Yes,
constantly checking things off. But we need to take and allow that time in between.
yes,
A
right.
quote that I heard earlier this week that has stuck with me was um, peace feels like boredom to people who live in chaos.
Right.
Right.
That's
I
a
don't
good one.
I have lived in some form of chaos, I think, my entire life.
Yes,
And so that downtime, that lull, that, okay, everything on my task list is done. Now what? Now I'm bored.
Like
You
how
know, I don't,
dare I have an end to my task
but
list?
my boredom is actually what peace feels like. I
yes,
just didn't know that because to me it felt like boredom, but boredom feels like peace to people who are used to living in chaos.
And
So,
the aha there is that we're creating this piece that feels like boredom. We're actually creating that for ourselves.
mhm,
So if we're not acknowledging that we're creating the piece, we're kind of
mhm,
missing it,
we're
right?
missing the
right.
boat.
Missing the boat. Like,
Wow.
oh man, we're really working hard. So it's like we set aside time to do our self-care and meditation, but we're missing the other part of the piece entirely.
Right.
When
Mhm.
Right.
Speaking of peace,
Yeah.
speaking of peace and being aware of it, Heather's got some health tips for us this week.
Yes, so our listeners know, I don't, you may not know, that we have both made health a priority for ourselves. So it's really important for me to share that knowledge because what knowledge isn't owned. We just need to share it with people. And I know that in the process of shedding over 170 pounds each, Charlie and I have learned many, many things. So just bringing it up and keeping it up helps us maintain our awareness, and that's what we're talking about today is mindfulness around eating.
Mhm.
So I have 3 tips for practicing mindfulness around eating. So practice being aware of your body's needs while you're eating. Focus on how the bit of food made you feel. This lets you be aware of like when you're full,
Mhm.
but it also lets you be aware of like how food is interacting in your body.
Mhm. And with that, a good way to practice being aware of your body's needs while you're eating is to think about the food while you're eating it. What does it feel like? Is it sweet? Is it salty? Is it hard? Is it soft? Think of all those
Textures,
sensory
flavors.
things around the food while you're eating it. Think about the person who prepared the food, who grew the food, whatever the case may be, because it causes you to not only be grateful for that, but to slow down.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing when I was a teenager. My grandma had us in Jenny Craig, and it was like a really big deal that you used your fork, you took a bite purposefully with your fork, you put it in your mouth purposely. Then you purposely set your fork down and enjoyed the bite. Like it was the whole
Mhm.
process of eating. Like,
Mhm. That's basically what they were trying to teach you, is mindfulness around eating.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, tip number 2 is practice eliminating distractions. So, turn off the TV, turn off YouTube, eat in silence because that brings you into your senses.
Put your
So,
phone away.
yeah. Which
Mhm.
is also great for conversations and connections at the table, right? So if we're eating together as a family, if we turn the TV off, we put on some music that doesn't have any words. You create the atmosphere you want to have, right? But then you also create space for those connections.
Mhm. Super important.
And the third one is practicing chewing thoroughly. Do not rush. Oh, here's where I had put the fork down between bites
Yep.
on my
You're like, I
notes.
know, honey, it's okay.
Yeah, it's all part of the mindfulness and having that connection.
This week's quote: "In darkness unawakened, they make foolishness cover their wisdom and overflow. One remembrance of illumination can break through and leap out of the dust." Zen Master Hongzhi.
I love it. I just keep coming back to the speck of glitter. Like just a tiny speck of glitter can be your focus. And if you're focused in and it's a passion, it's a good focus, right? If you're focused in and it's something harmful, this is an opportunity to identify that.
Absolutely. That's a really good way to look at that.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. Good job.
Thanks. We all put things in our own way, which is what's great about having conversations with other women and connecting, is that we're creating that circle that we used to always have and that we really desperately need as women.
Absolutely.
So, up at coming events, we have live recordings for Mindset Mondays at 11:30 Pacific Standard Time, and Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Wednesdays and Fridays at 9 a.m.
We usually try to go live on Facebook, but sometimes technology does not cooperate with us. But keep an eye out for those lives because they are super fun. You get some additional content before and after. And sometimes that conversation before we go start the recording is just so, 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 so good.
It could be a whole podcast all in of itself sometimes.
Yeah. So come and join us.
I think that our cause of the quarter fits perfectly with our guest today. Our cause of the quarter is Now Networking. It is a local nonprofit here in the Pacific Northwest. Um, they help women leaders. Women leaders are helping build our future women leaders, helping them overcome diversity. They help them through with grants and mentorship, and it's a really great
All kinds of really cool stuff.
organization. And I'm really excited that Carol's doing this kind of work nationally, like virtually. And then we also have Samantha Brinkley, who is working with women in Alabama. Like these things are happening if we just connect and tune into them.
Absolutely.
Carol, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, this was wonderful. I so enjoyed my time with the both of you, Heather and Charlie. You two are just amazing. You are a dynamic duo, and I so enjoyed my time with you. And thank you for all that you do in supporting women in leadership. And I love the element of the body, mind, and soul of your business podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's
Oh
so
my goodness.
sweet.
We're going to say thank you to our audience as well. Thank you for continuing to connect with us, and we're looking forward to building more relationships with more community leaders.
We look forward to you joining us at the table. Namaste.
Namaste.